JFK, and of course Dr. Nadine Spence with us. We're speaking about the leaked voice notes, the commentary we've heard from JFJ in our newscast, and I'm going to Dr. Spence. Dr. Spence, there is a challenge that Ms. Jackson noted just now, that there is accountability, credibility issue if something is to go wrong in the future, wherein people will just start pointing their fingers at the opposition based on these voice notes. I know Ms. Jackson has said that, the leadership of the PNP should really come out, but they haven't. What's your take on that, Dr. Spence?
Good morning. Well, there are two things that I said here that I want to address. Firstly, Michael identified a very important fact that the opposition is a creature of the Constitution and the very important role that the opposition plays in governance. But then she says an opposition having diarrhea at the mouth must not be dismissed, must not be taken to mean the same thing as a NARA bill. This wasn't a discussion about NARA, though. We've been having the discussions about NARA, and as she pointed out, concerns that have been raised have been submitted to the Parliament through the constitutionally legislative process, and they've been accepted. What we're talking about is leaders of a political party, powerful National Executive Council, stating that they intend to stymie, become a roadblock, prevent any forward process as a response to what you described at the beginning, Jamaica, the devastating impact that Melissa had on Jamaica. That's the issue, but not only that, the political party saying the means that are already in train, like the parish council, we are already using those strategies, using those measures to block the progress of the response. And not only that, but saying as well that we are going to weaponize this idea of corruption and build a level of distrust in our system, so that even if somebody comes forward to lead who is of impeccable character, we intend to do what is necessary to ensure that we invalidate the capacity of this person to lead. This is not a conversation about NARA. It's a conversation about constitutionally valid opposition stating that they intend to sabotage our governance process. They intend to weaponize Jamaicans' fears about corruption and thereby violate the trust that is necessary for effective governance in order for them to guarantee that 4.5 years from now they win the politics, even in the face of the fact that Jamaica has gone through one of its most devastating environmental impacts through the hurricane.
And what's the risk here for NARA governance in general, Dr. Spence?
Well, what we heard was, as it relates to NARA, this thing could be effective. Not a fear that NARA is going to it's going to be so corrupt that we fear what might happen to the resources allocated to the government to do the work of repairing Jamaica after NARA. You didn't hear that. What you heard was, clearly here is somebody who Jamaicans trust to administer this process, and we feel that we will not be able to deal with the impact of that if this is successful. So what you hear is that the opposition says, we don't want the recovery effort to be successful. We want it to fail. And there is one piece here that might make this successful, and that is the leader of NARA. And we are going to do what is necessary to make sure we invalidate that person. And we hear again this leading into this idea of corruption. So we have created the corruption boogeyman, and we are going to make sure that it's larger than life. and we are going to lean into it and ensure that we destroy the trust that Jamaicans must have in order for democracy to work. That's not moral. It's an offhand way. It's mentioned in an offhand way in respect of the potential of its success. The issue here is that the political opposition is stating clearly that it is going to sabotage any step the Jamaican government takes to recover after Melissa. Now, because media says Elizabeth and me lose my house and can't go home, I think it is absolutely abhorrent. I think it is wicked, and I think...
Dr. Spence? Dr. Spence, I think we lost Dr. Spence. Dr. Spence, on that point, then, is it a case where those that it's alleged are in those voice notes should be the ones to speak? Because I hear Michael Jackson about, the leadership coming out, but leadership could come out and say, I have nothing to do with that. But if it's the NEC, based on our understanding of the politics, the NEC includes the leadership. So if that is the case, then those conversations were heard, those conversations have not been addressed. So would it change anything now if they speak and not necessarily those who were in the voice notes themselves?
I don't think it would change anything for a lot of people. I think there are different people who have different kinds of persuasion, and who a response in a particular kind of way can perhaps get them to say, oh, but it depends on the kind of response, right? I think a lot of what people have been seeing from the opposition since the start of this new parliament is that they've been obstructionists, and they have tried their very best to sabotage the processes that the government has articulated in Parliament, and also that they've been disruptive in Parliament. So we have a set of conversations, national conversations, we're not making them up, that have taken place about what is happening in Parliament and how the opposition is responding to the legitimacy of this government. Almost as if this opposition is saying these people do not have the right to lead, and whoever voted them in office are idiots. That has been the kind of response, and we intend to make sure that we do not allow them to do what they have been mandated to do by the people. That is what we've had so far, So there are, I guess, people who are looking for the opposition to explain their position will perhaps feel comforted by some pithy set of comments, but there are a lot of us who heard it, especially for those of us who have been personally impacted by Melissa and are in the trenches trying to figure out how we put on the roof, how much money we're going to use, zinc, and are impatient with a response from the government, because we know we don't have all the funds to do the work that needs to be done. And when you hear this now, you are absolutely devastated. Why? Because this is not about winning an election. We are 4.5 years out of an election. We just done one election late last year. We are not at the point yet for a political party to be so focused on elections. We are at the point now where the people have to be put first. And so the fact that we are now hearing that this is coming from inside of the PNP, and the PNP is not incidental to our governance process. The PNP is critical to what happens to this response to Melissa. The PNP is important to the success of it. And if the opposition PNP says we will not support it, and in fact what we are going to try to do is to do everything to make it fail, then what is the leadership going to do? And remember now, this is not a statement from a political platform. This is a conversation that comes at a moment when somebody feels as if the outside is not observing me, so I can be honest. What can be done to allay the concerns and fears of Jamaicans like myself, who recognize that all we are going to get in this term is a kind of response from the parliamentary opposition, which says we are going to block everything the government does.
You said something about response from the leadership, Dr. Spence. What response from the leadership would be sufficient?
None.
Should people like the ones in the voice note be seeking to represent Jamaicans going forward?
No.
Michael?
You have been disqualified. Jano?
Yes, I want to hear you on that question. Should people like the ones heard in the voice note, that man, that woman, the man in his voice note saying something about delayed tactics at the parish council level, appearing to be somebody who is within the local governance structure, should people like that be seeking to represent Jamaicans?
I think anyone who can play politics with our governance system and delay effort to people following a Category 5 hurricane automatically disqualify themselves from any leadership and governance role in our country. So let's be very clear. They have disqualified themselves in that respect. I disagree, though, that the political party leadership, it would not make a difference. I think it's important that they go on record to indicate whether or not this is an official WhatsApp challenge group of the political party, and if the views are representative of the political party. Because in that respect, the public can judge the parliamentary opposition appropriately so. I think it's important that the political party leadership speaks. Because again, it's a governance issue, and I wouldn't want us to be caught up in the politics of it all, that we miss that. And again, the wider issue of trust levels that our 16, 17, 18 and the youngsters have. It's reflective in the voting patterns. It's reflective when it's the people don't pay attention to PBC. It's so important for us to center now on this only. But let's look at it. If people don't trust governance, it means that any political party leading at the time, if all of them are wicked, all of them are thief, all of them corrupt,
But
and they will move on.